When you think of the Sahara, you picture an endless ocean of sand, a silent, scorching wasteland that's been that way for millions of years. But what if I told you? That's a lie. The world's largest desert is hiding a massive secret. Beneath the dunes lies a forgotten world. A world with vast river systems, lush forests, and prehistoric monsters that would make a T-Rex look tame. These are the Sahara's most shocking discoveries, and they're changing everything we thought we knew about our planet. You see, for thousands of years, the Sahara wasn't a desert at all. It was a vibrant, green landscape, pulsing with life. This era, known as the African Humid Period, was a time when monsoons pushed north, feeding huge networks of rivers, lakes, and savannas. So, what happened to this lost world? What secrets did it leave behind? Buried under millions of tons of sand? Let's dig in and find the stunning evidence that proves this vanished paradise was real. The first clue isn't a fossil or a ruin, but something much, much bigger. It's the ghost of a landscape you can only see from space for decades. Scientists have been using radar and satellite imagery to peer right through the sand, and what they've found is staggering. They've mapped ancient riverbeds and the shorelines of colossal prehistoric lakes, so-called megalakes, that once stretched for thousands of square miles. One of the most incredible examples is a megalake discovered near a place called Wadi Tushka in Egypt at its peak. This body of water would have covered over 42,000 square miles of freshwater sea in the heart of North Africa. And these weren't just isolated ponds. They were part of a massive, interconnected water system that supported a thriving ecosystem. We can even see echoes of this wet world today. In 2024, powerful storms curved around the Atlas Mountains and dumped enough rain to form temporary lakes in basins that are normally bone-dry. Satellite images confirmed these fleeting lakes in Algeria and Morocco, a stunning, modern-day glimpse of the Sahara's wetter past. It just goes to show, the desert's transformation from green to gold wasn't a simple, one-way street. This world of water wasn't empty, either. It was home to civilizations, and their stories are written in bone. Deep in the deserts of Niger, there's a place that has completely rewritten the book on human history in Africa. It's called Gobero, and it is the largest and oldest Stone Age graveyard ever found in the Sahara. For 5,000 years, two completely different cultures lived and died here. Their remains painting a vivid picture of life when the Sahara was green. The first people, the Kifians, arrived about 10,000 years ago. These were powerfully built people, many standing well over 6 feet tall. They were hunters and fishers, feasting on the massive game that filled the lakes and savannas. Their graves tell a story of a confident, successful people who had mastered their environment. Then, the climate changed. Around 8,000 years ago, a terrible drought pushed the Kifians out, and Gobero was abandoned for 1,000 years. When the rains finally returned, a new culture moved in, the Tenorians. They were smaller, more graceful people with a totally different lifestyle. They were herders, living more lightly on the land with their cattle. The graves at Gobero reveal incredibly personal details about their lives. One burial is perhaps the most moving human scene ever discovered, known as the Stone Age Embrace. It's a 300-year-old grave holding a woman and 2 small children. She lies on her side, facing the kids. Their arms are intertwined, their hands seemingly clasped in one final, eternal hug. Pollen analysis from the grave suggests they were laid to rest on a bed of flowers, a tender farewell from a long-lost world. Discoveries like this don't just prove people lived in the Sahara. They show us how they lived, how they loved, and how they grieved. But these ancient people weren't alone. They shared their green paradise with monsters. When we think of dinosaurs, we usually picture them on land. Tyrannosaurus rex storming through a forest, or a brontosaurus munching on treetops. But the Green Sahara was home to a different kind of terror creature straight out of your worst nightmare. Its name is Spinosaurus aegyptiacus. For 100 years, Spinosaurus was a mystery. The first fossils, found in Egypt, were destroyed in World War II, leaving scientists with only drawings. But recent discoveries in Morocco have brought this beast roaring back to life, and the reality is stranger than anyone imagined. Spinosaurus was one of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs ever, stretching up to 50 feet long. But it wasn't a land predator. It was a river monster. New evidence, including an incredible, nearly complete tail fossil, proves Spinosaurus was a highly adapted aquatic hunter. Its tail was long and paddle-like, built to propel its gigantic body through the water with terrifying force. Much like a modern crocodile, it had incredibly dense bones, like a penguin or a manatee, which helped it control its buoyancy while hunting underwater. Its long, cone-shaped teeth were perfect for snagging slippery fish, and its nostrils were set high on its snout, so it could breathe while most of its head was submerged. This wasn't just some dinosaur that waded in the shallows. This may have been the first truly semi-aquatic dinosaur we know of, an apex predator that stalked the massive river systems of the Green Sahara. And it wasn't the only giant. The same rivers were filled with colossal crocodiles and giant prehistoric fish, creating a freshwater world that was arguably more dangerous than any ocean today. The scientific debate still simmers, with some arguing it was more of a shoreline hunter, like a giant heron. But one thing is for sure, the Sahara's ancient rivers were the domain of titans. So what about the people who lived alongside them? What happens when an entire civilization just disappears? For centuries, Roman historians dismissed the Garamantes as savage nomads who raided the edges of their empire. That was the story, anyway, until we looked down from space. Using satellite imagery, archaeologists uncovered a truth that was hidden for nearly 2,000 years. The Garamantes were no nomads. They were master engineers who built a powerful kingdom right in the heart of the Sahara, in what is now Libya. Remote sensing has revealed the ruins of more than 100 fortified settlement-sexual castles in the desert. These weren't just tiny outposts. They were complex towns and villages with walls still standing up to 13 feet high, surrounded by signs of widespread farming. One archaeologist compared the discovery to someone suddenly finding all of England's medieval castles, completely unrecorded and unknown. The Garamantes built a sophisticated civilization in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. They had their own written language and pioneered oasis farming. But their most incredible achievement was a huge, underground network of water channels, called fagaras, that ran for hundreds of miles. These tunnels tapped into ancient aquifers, letting them irrigate fields and support large cities in a land with almost no rain. This was an advanced state that thrived from around 500 BCE to 700 CE. They weren't just surviving in the desert, they had conquered it. And yet, their civilization, just like the Roman city of Timgad on the Sahara's edge, was eventually buried and lost for 1,000 years. The reason they fell is the same reason the monsters vanished and the graveyards were covered. The Green Sahara was dying. So what turned green pastures into golden silence? The answer isn't on Earth, but in the sky. The Green Sahara was created by a predictable wobble in the Earth's axial tilt, a pattern that repeats every 21,000 years or so. during the African humid period. This tilt shifted the northern hemisphere closer to the sun in the summer, superheating the land. This created a massive low-pressure system that sucked incredible amounts of moisture from the Atlantic, powering up the African monsoon and pushing rain deep into the continent. But this orbital dance is relentless. As the Earth's tilt slowly shifted back, the summer sun grew weaker. The monsoons retreated south. The change in solar energy was gradual, but the landscape's response was shockingly fast. In as little as 200 years, the rivers dried up, the lakes vanished, and the savannas withered. Dust storms replaced rain clouds, and the sand began its unstoppable march, reclaiming the vibrant world that had flourished for millennia. The ecosystems collapsed, the giant creatures disappeared, and the people had to adapt, migrate, or vanish into history, leaving only ghosts beneath the sand. From the bottom of a lost lake to the heart of a buried city, the Sahara is a landscape of ghosts. Every new discovery chips away at the image of a timeless wasteland and replaces it with a dynamic, breathtaking history. We've found the tender embrace of a family laid to rest on a bed of flowers, walked the rivers of swimming dinosaurs, and uncovered the castles of a forgotten kingdom. The Sahara is not a dead place. It's a library of time, and its secrets are still being unearthed. We are only just beginning to read the stories written in its sand. What we've learned has already rewritten our understanding of climate, evolution, and human resilience. But the most shocking discovery of all might be that our planet can transform itself in ways we're only just beginning to understand. The sands of the Sahara are always shifting, and we can be certain that more secrets are waiting to be found. If you're fascinated by lost worlds and the real stories of our ancient past, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Every discovery tells a story, and we're here to bring them to you.